No. Morning, everybody. It's 9 o'clock on March 14th, 2024. This is the regular monthly meeting of the Bismarck Parking Authority. Welcome, everybody in the audience and everyone who's watching at home. The first item of business on your agenda would be to consider the minutes of our February 8th meeting. You have them before you. Are there any changes, corrections, comments, suggestions, deletions, additions? If not, is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you. We'll move on to the regular agenda. Excuse me. It is a pretty light agenda this morning, so I don't anticipate this meeting taking more than a couple hours. First item would be to review the financial information from February. Does management have anything they would like to point out, extraordinary or otherwise unusual?
Mr. Chairman, Authority Board members, 2 months in now for the new year, and we're sitting well for staying in line with budget on both income and expense side of items. The real estate taxes part on your month-to-date amount that is for what we have to pay on the commercial side of the parkade building, because the other ramps themselves are, as a municipality, don't have real estate taxes on that other than just assessments, but that's for the commercial side specifically. And then capital improvements, that included those bills for the parkade restroom updates, and then we did have a sander box upgrade for the pickup as well, included in that. The reserve account, $1,863,963, combined with our checking operating funds, $117,457 for a combined total, $1,981,421. So we're getting close to the new ramp purchase there.
There you go. Any questions or comments of management regarding the financials?
A quick question, Jeremy.
Sure.
Is that bathroom update, is that complete or is that still in progress?
So we still, we decided to do the painting of the stalls in-house, and still that part is still in progress, but the plumbing stuff is completed.
Any feedback from the tenants on that? yet.
None on my end. I guess Corey received any yet.
Great. Okay, great. Other comments or questions? Anybody have anything? Any questions or comments on the financials? If not, we'd entertain a motion to approve the financials as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please, Sue.
Josh?
Yes.
Todd?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes, that motion carries. Thank you. Item 3 on the agenda is a pickup truck vehicle purchase. Jeremy?
Yep, Mr. Chairman, Authority Board members, this item did, so we went through fleet services with the city, and that was put on the consent agenda with the commission meeting last month, and that was approved, and that contract purchase price was $44,675, so that is on order. It's, they said that it's in, should be, well, March 25th, end of this month, it's en route, and so I think we'll be receiving it probably April-ish timeframe, so.
So 44,675, that's a 2024, that's a new vehicle.
Yep, 2024 GMC Sierra,
Is that four-wheel drive? Probably. I
yes.
would think so, right?
Yep.
Pushing snow around. Questions or comments on that item? Seems like a pretty fair deal.
Yeah, and we did confirm prior to the purchase that it is compatible with, or that we'll be able to put the blade,
Sure.
you know, for pushing snow in the front, and then with our sander box, that the dimensions will work for that as well.
So those of us who aren't familiar with the city fleet, we went through the city fleet purchase process on this?
Yes, yep, with Kurt O'Neill, the manager, director, helped assist us with
Any
that
idea what
process.
that's saved us or cost us extra?
Yeah, roughly about $5,000 or $6,000, because we went on the open market local to a couple different dealerships and priced out comparisons, so
Okay.
we did have a little bit of
Good deal,
savings.
I think. All right. We'll move on to other business, which is the 3rd and Thayer Avenue intersection. I don't know who wants to take that one, Jeremy or?
Well, I put this on the agenda in case there was further discussion needed or required as far as what the Parking Authority Board would like management to do on submitting comment, I guess, to the city and or DOT, and what those timeframes are, as I'm not, I was hoping Kate could help me on that, and if,
Kate, welcome.
as far as the timelines for public comment and whatnot.
Testing, got it. Okay, sorry. So we've had some comments from folks that use it just as a driving corridor that like not stopping. It's the folks that are trying to get in and out on Third Street and then, from Third Street onto Thayer particularly, or pedestrians trying to cross it, that we've had some comments that, they think it's unsafe. So I'd say it's mixed right now. We were thinking about your lot. Even when there was a light there, you kind of relied on strangers' kindness to sort of let you out of that lot. So if it does stay permanent, there might be an opportunity to try and maybe just write in that location and maybe go out on the alley and disperse out into two locations if it gets to be problematic. So just wanted to throw that out there. But yeah, I think comments are still at 90 days, so I think it's like the end of March. Do you remember, Isaac, how long they're taking comments, DOT on the Third Street one? I think it's the end of March, but, so yeah, we'd love to have some comments. We've gotten some from folks, and then when I mention, what about Thayer getting out of that parking lot? I didn't think about that. So maybe from your users, if you've had any other feedback for people in that lot trying to get out, but.
Any feedback from the Third and Rosser tenants?
Chairman and Authority Board members, I've had a few comments from parking customers that utilize the Third and Rosser lot, and that it gets a little hairy. So as around the 5 o'clock hour when they're trying to get out of just that single lane, and the visual obstruction is the vehicles that are parked on that street between Thayer and Rosser. And it's just hard to see around them because of how close the building is from that driveway apron as well. Trying to think which the fire pit or restaurant in that building in that location. So like I say, a few customers have expressed, I guess, kind of concern of with the traffic light that was there before. That gave them a little bit of a buffer and time to be able to maneuver.
So, we should encourage everybody to go online and comment on the DOT's. And is there a link to that through our website, through the Parking Authority's website, or Downtowner's website?
We can send you the link or the contact information. We've been collecting it from our members, and we're just packaging it to send it all in one fell swoop. So you can send it to us too. We can certainly send it.
Yeah, we can add it to the Parking Authority website.
I don't know if it's appropriate for the Parking Authority to take a position on it or not. Obviously, individually, we can all express our opinion as drivers and taxpayers, but I don't know if
And even not necessarily taking a motion or taking a position, but just giving us your feedback on that it's not why it's not working is helpful, or what you've heard from your customers.
Okay.
Yep.
Commissioner?
I know, I've only traveled that turning left off of Thayer onto Third Street once, and it was during sundown, and traffic was backed up, so you almost had to take your chances on going across the street. It's not a safe thing in that one experience, so I could only imagine some of the other situations that people don't report.
Does the city commission get to weigh in on these issues? Because it's state DOT money that's involved, but there's some city money, I'm sure, in maintaining the signalized intersection.
They will get to weigh in, but DOT, I think, kind of has the final say on if. Well, I'm sure they'll work it out, but I mean, DOT has quite at least half of the dollars in this project are close to.
They have a bigger
At least
check.
2 million, something like that. So.
But in this case, they removed an existing signalized, right?
Right. We've seen that a lot in Mandan, like where on Main Avenue, where DOT put dollars into Main Avenue, then they look at all the signalized intersections because they end up again paying for them or maintaining them. So they took some out or put some just to go to flashing yellow or something like that. So it's a pretty common thing if DOT is putting money in that they want to look at the efficiency of all the infrastructure that's on that corridor.
I would ask Commissioner Conley, again, if this is something that will rise to the table at city commission meetings.
Gabe
If there's enough
presented
feedback, or-
the 90-day window to us, and then after that, there's always public comment every other week. So in the city, even though it's restricted to items on the agenda, the city's never restricted really anybody. There's probably a precedence to where they would weigh in and say, we got to get on with regular business and stuff. So we stay within the guidance of what open meetings are. But in other light conversations, part of the reason why the reconstruct of South Washington, this is before my appointment, a couple of years ago, they talked about the light at Reno to where there was actually loss of life. But they said if they did any reconstruction or certain parameters at that time, and times change, but they said that that light would no longer be there. So that caused some great concern, and that's why I remember watching that discussion. That's why they just decided to do the road maintenance at that time rather than replace or reconstruct it, because a lot of people don't want that light to go. Now, if you reconstruct it, then the conversation was, well, if we do go against DOT and put a light in, right, it's on us, and then there would be a question, why should DOT do anything for Bismarck? That's always floated out there. It's creates a hardship on the conversation, and it causes a lot of heartache amongst the citizens as well. So hopefully we can grow into a better conversation with it instead of just these guardrail things to where, well, we're kind of out of it.
So if I can ask, has the city engineer or traffic engineer, which is in the city engineering department, have they weighed in on this particular intersection, or have they been asked to?
No.
Yeah. So they don't have an opinion on whether there should be a light there or not? They
Knowing-
have one, but it hasn't been brought
Right.
forward.
I wouldn't want to speak for Gabe.
Sure.
And that, knowing other projects and everything, he always will say that he errs on the side of safety, which is good. And he's a very articulate and data-driven person. So he will state the opinions, but or what his perspective is based on his background. He'll also usually share the other options, but is that the option that people are most comfortable with? Time will tell.
So at the end of the day, we need the users, the public, the people that drive and walk and work over there to weigh in if they want to see it retained.
If we said we were gonna put a roundabout there, I bet you'd get a lot of comments, so.
So last meeting, I did say I make that left-hand turn off of there every night. It is a disaster. And you are right, you're taking your life in your hands. And I'm not worried about me getting hit by a car, but we got restaurants there. And I watch those people try to cross the street, and it's not safe. And we are gonna have a fatality there. I know we will, because there's too much traffic. And it's, when you don't have any signal, the speed gets faster and faster. And that parking lot, I would agree that we're gonna have to do something in the alley, because nobody's gonna wanna use that
If that
lot.
or right turn only,
Right in, an alley out or some, right out.
we can see how well that works at the Third and Main ramp too. But
Yeah,
And one final, it's literally like Frogger, depending on the part of the day. But Gabe is always really open, even when, before my appointment and things, if I would call him up, he would make it a point to give me a call and things. So he's good about that. I can't guarantee he'll always like the answer, but certainly through this survey and making those proactive calls, that's how we learn. The more people that talk about it, hopefully we can come to the best decision that helps our city.
would it be appropriate for the parking authority to request that the city commission express our concerns and on behalf of our parkers at the Third and Rosser ramp in particular, lot in particular? Just an expression of our.
Mr. Chair, also,
Okay.
just thinking about that area, so now you have the existing users there already, there might be some issues, but, you know, US Bank had a drive up there that's not functional anymore, but it's still a drive up downtown, and those are hard to get, so I could see that, maybe somebody grabbing that up if they would sell it, and then you've got the Lander property that's starting demolition.
Block to the west.
So you're gonna have some stuff on the west side that's gonna generate some more cross-traffic on Thayer Street in future.
That if the Lander project goes forward to fruition, they're talking, what, 90 living units on that corner?
Yeah, I think it'd be pretty
Nine-
similar
90
to the size of Renaissance Lofts.
Okay.
And a little bit of commercial maybe on the main floor, too.
Well, again, if it's appropriate, that it's the consensus of the parking authority that at least the city commission further study it or ask the city engineer's opinion, or do we want to actually take a stand and say that we feel that there should be a signalized intersection there? If we're getting out of our depth of our field, but
Yeah, I don't know if we're out of our lane on here, but my recommendation would be that we do urge the city commission to have some kind of safety controls there in place, and I would think it's a light.
okay, that'd be the consensus of the members here, so Sue will reflect that in the minutes, and Jeremy will send a letter to Commissioner Conley.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
If I may too, just as an additional comment, that if we would need to further explore the route of an exit through the alley to turn onto Thayer from that Third and Thayer lot, that it's doable, but there would be a lot of workarounds. We'd have to trench in electrical line to put another gate in that location, do some new curbing and whatnot. So not impossible, but would be a little bit of an endeavor.
Thanks, Jeremy. Okay. Other business or other comments on that item? If not, we'll move on to other business. Is there anything from the downtowners, Kate?
Chair, authority members, we, a couple months ago, we'd asked about a survey of folks that wanted to use an app, since you guys are looking at pay by app. So Jeremy had sent kind of a draft of a survey. We have got kind of added to it a little bit, and I'll send it to Jeremy to send out to you guys. If you're good with it, we can then send it out through those channels for everyone. A couple of the questions we asked, we also wanted to know if folks paid for their own parking or their employer paid for their parking. So to us, I think that's a kind of an important question. Like, yeah, that'd be great if they're not paying for it, to see kind of how the employer. So we asked if they pay or the employer pays, and then we asked those questions for hourly and for monthly parkers, and then just any additional feedback. So could send that out soonish if you guys are good with it, and I'll
Questions,
shoot it to
Kate?
Jeremy.
No? All right, thanks, Kate.
Yep.
I have a couple items. One, we've had some recent meetings with representatives from Sanford, and I can't get into specifics, but excuse me, there is still very strong interest in moving forward with some sort of a parking structure on the North Rosser corridor. They are doing more expansion in the main facility, including adding beds, and that means adding nurses and other personnel. And they're obviously stressed out, or I should say concerned about parking availability so that their employees aren't parking on the street. So we will continue those conversations. As for the heart hospital, I am told that it is still alive, and it's a alive and beating project, heart, but no exact timeline yet. Probably not until 26, 27, 3-4 years out. But it's still a potential project. So they are expanding the clinic at 7th and Main, basically doubling that in size, which is going to eliminate 30 or so parking spaces right there. They're within the parking district, so that's allowed. But the point being is they remain committed, Sanford remains committed to the downtown environment, and I think it behooves us to do what we can to make sure that we keep them as a customer and as a partner in our parking ventures as we go forward. The other thing that's come up is the city starting the budgeting process already. Administration upstairs reached out to us to see if we, the parking authority, had any changes in mind for the city rate, which currently is, Jeremy, 32?
Well, for the city part, or
The
how
city-
much
the
the city's
city's
paying? The
rate.
city's paying roughly about 32 a spot.
$32 a space, and we're talking essentially on the 6th Street ramp next door. And the market rate is 64, so the city's paying roughly half, excuse me, half the market. And we've already met on the issue of our rates for the year. Doesn't mean we can't make an exception or talk about what the city pays. And I think that the city expects us to come back with some sort of a ask for an increase. And last time I think it was $2. So whopping $2 rate, per car. But there's also 120 cars involved, I think.
122.
122 cars. So I thought, and when did they want that response, Jeremy? If and when we're going to do anything about it?
I'd have to look back to see if there was a deadline, but probably just sooner than later, but I think July is kind of the,
Well, that's when they do the
get-
actual budget.
right,
I think
right.
they're already starting to build the
Yeah.
paperwork for their budget, so we can put it on the agenda for the next meeting and still be adequate, talk about it at the April meeting then. Just wanted to bring it to your attention. That's all I have. Kate?
Sorry, Jimmy, jogged my memory a little bit. There is a precast concrete company that's coming to Bismarck, and so if we're talking about, building a ramp, that might be an interesting option to look at. I think we were pulling things from Fargo and western Minnesota last time, and maybe it would cut down on cost a little bit. To your point about an additional ramp and additional spaces, in a good way, we're actually seeing some good office activity now downtown again. We've got a bigger user that's going to be coming down. And I don't know if they'll use the ramps necessarily because they're a little bit off of that beaten path. We've got some spaces that have now been taken in, I don't know if I can say it out loud. Some Third Street area stuff. With KLJ coming in, the Third and main ramp is actually quite full now. I mean, I've parked there for 14 years, and it's some of the fullest I've seen in a long time. So, we probably do need to, kick off that conversation again a little bit because it'll take quite some time to get a ramp going. And what we're seeing generally is folks that maybe have a larger office footprint outside of the downtown and have gone to maybe a little bit of hybrid or looking for a smaller footprint. And so they've been coming back into the downtown and leasing a decent amount of office space. So,
Which is a good thing.
yeah, for sure.
Thanks, Kate. Other business? Anybody have anything? Jeremy?
Mr. Chairman, we did get a survey assessment done by Ender for the ramps values for insured value. Previously, of the 4 ramps, the insured value was 64 million, and with the new assessment survey that, of course, with replacement costs nowadays, going through the roof, but 81 million is the new suggested insured value between all 4 ramps. So that would increase the insurance premium by $5,776. We were, current rate is 23,055. New rate would be 28,831.
And we just accept that. There's not much we can do about it, right? So-
Well, I mean, the limit suggestion is likely what we should comply with, I guess, and not be underinsured, so.
It is a bargain for the city for what we pay for insurance, so and the gentleman who does that for NADERF is very, very thorough, and I work with him a lot. I definitely recommend that we bump that up to where he says it should be.
You want to put that in the form of a motion? If it's necessary, or just approve, we can approve the,
I guess I'll make a motion to accept the new replacement cost value for the ramps.
is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? If not, call the roll, please, Sue, on that question.
Josh?
Yes.
Todd?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes, motion carries. Anything else for the good of the order? If not, we stand adjourned. Unless there's an objection, we stand adjourned until April 11th. Thanks, everybody.